All right, Twila, I think we are live. I can see it on my page. Can you see it?
I don't see it yet. I don't know why.
Maybe click out and come back. I'm actually looking at it now.
Maybe that's what it is. Okay.
And I'm turning my volume down.
Hmm.
You know what? I'm
When
going to
I go into
tag
your,
you. I'm turning my volume down. Give me 1 second. I'm going to go ahead and send it to you.
no worries.
Let me know if you received it.
Okay.
Let me know if you received it.
Oh, we can definitely. I got it. I just need to mute.
All right, perfect. I was going to say turn your phone volume down, and if you can hear me, can you hear me on the Zoom?
Yes.
Let me know if you received it.
Technology.
Phone volume down, and if you can you hear me on the Zoom?
Yes. Okay, there we go.
You turn it all the way down?
Yeah.
Wow, it's duplicating. All right. So I'm going to mute you, and then we can go back and forth because I don't want it to echo.
Okay.
Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. It's crazy because I can actually hear myself talking. Okay. Let's see if it stopped. Oh, wow. Thank you, Natasha, for joining. I have an echo, so let me try to get rid of this echo. Oh, wow. Thank you, Natasha, for joining. I have an echo, so let me try to get rid of this echo. Hi, Natasha. Can you, hey, lady, can you hear echo?
I can't.
You can't. Maybe it's just I can actually hear the echo. I was actually saying thank you for joining us tonight.
Oh, no problem. How is everybody doing tonight?
We are well. Okay. Give me 1 second. Awesome. Hold on 1 second. I think I know what the problem might be. Let me. All right. Can you guys hear me? You ladies. Perfect. I figured out what the problem was. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, I want to thank each and every one of you all for being here. I want to thank my special guest, Twila Thornton, for being here. Twila has provided so much great information. She's like a little sis to me. I don't see her every day, but if I have a question related around tax topics, I know I could call her in a drop of a hat, and she shares a wealth of information. Late Night Conversations is a show that I put together, or a live streaming that I put together, to be able to come forward and bring everyone great resources. And it's never centered around one particular thing, but I decided to actually invite Twila on, and I'm so grateful that she accepted the invitation, because most of us have filed our taxes. So much has happened since the pandemic, COVID-19, so many different changes. And I'm not an expert in that area. So I thought I would bring someone on. Let me add in someone who's trying to hop on, because I appreciate each and every one of you all joining. This is very interactive. So I want to thank Natasha Peterson. She is one of my Life Changer TLC business partners. Natasha is very serious about what she does. And I'm going to mute you, Dwight. I want to thank Shawanda for joining, and Dwight, and anyone else that decides to hop on. I will include the Zoom very shortly. I just want to go ahead and introduce my special guest. And so let me give you all some information. So the person who's going to be sharing with us tonight, her name is Twila Thornton. And so I'm going to give you her bio so you get a little history of who she is and, you know, what she's all about. She is the founder and CEO of KSL Financial LLC, abbreviated KSL. It actually stands for Kingdom Style Living. I am sure you're curious to know how she came up with the idea and what it represents. And trust me, she will tell you her story on how she birthed, let me go back, how she birthed such a powerful name and how she started her business. Twila has been a seasoned professional with more than 15 years of financial experience, started her career in banking with Bank of America after working at B of A for 5 years and moving into management very quickly. Twila absolutely and wholeheartedly enjoyed serving customers while offering and educating clients on various products and services that would help meet their specific financial needs. She had become so good at what she did that in 2007 she received a World Class Service Award from Bank of America, selling over 120 something odd accounts in 1 month. At the age of 22, a new wife and a mother, she felt like she was on top of the world and that she had found her purpose. But little did she know that later on in life would throw a monkey wrench at her, and everything that she worked so hard for and loved would all come to a tragic end. She will discuss more about that chapter of her life in her Zoom meeting on tonight. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you to the CEO and founder of KSL Financial, Ms. Twila Thornton. So Twila, I'm going to go ahead and mute out because I don't want to have any background noise. And anytime there's anyone speaking, I like to give the courtesy so we can hear what they say. All right, so you have the mic and I'm going to mute.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Thumbs up if you can hear me. Good deal, good deal. Well, I just would like to start off saying that it is an honor and a privilege to definitely be on this Zoom meeting. I've been knowing Patricia now for a very, very long time, like 6 or 7 years. She's been a blessing in my life, to say the least. The way we connected was just, I believe, divine appointment. I don't believe you run into people by chance. I believe that everybody in our lives either comes in for a lesson. Some people are seasonal, some people are permanent. And so you have to use the wisdom that God gives you to determine how someone either stays in your life or exit the door. So with that being said, I want to welcome everybody. Thank you so much again for tuning in. Again, just to give you a little bit background of myself, I am the CEO and founder of KSL Financial. Just to give you guys a little bit of how I came up with my business. I actually worked on this 10 years ago, believe it or not. And originally it was only just going to be kingdom style living. And so where I got kingdom style living is I'm a fighter. I was a foster child, and I got taken away from my parents at a very young age. And so I was a drug baby. So when I got placed in foster care, just to give you a little background of my upbringing, they told my foster parents that I would not, learn. I would have a learning disability. They told them that, it would be hard for me to focus, things of that nature. but I beg to differ. Actually, as a young girl, I was always very good at speaking. I was always good being a good steward of finances. You know, I love to save money, things of that nature. So I didn't turn out what, you know, man said how I would turn out. And so I said that to say, what kind of led me into finances is being brought up in church. And I don't go into different denominations and all these things. Just I'm going to keep it general for the sake of this Zoom meeting. But being, you know, having a background in church, we were always preached that we should be a good steward of our finances. And so also being reared by older people, my foster parents at the time were in their early 60s. So you can imagine being 4 years old. I was 4 when I was placed with them, and my brother was 2. And so being placed with them, I got a lot of wisdom being raised by such older people. And so, you know, mom would always say, Twila, you need to save for a nest egg. And dad would always say, you know, he had all these comical stories. You know, when I was coming up, we only had 2 pair of shoes. And if it got a hole in it, you just took some twine and you just, you know, wore it in one shoe. See, y'all blessed. But, you know, I always saved, young lady. And, you know, when the lunch wagon would come, the kids, all the other kids would be saliving and they didn't have no money. But, you know, and it stuck with me. And so as I began my journey, my first career was B of A. There I began as a customer service representative. In 2006 is when I began with them. And I loved what I did. I never, you know, as a young woman, bounced checks. I never, you know, mismanaged money. So I feel like it was my perfect fit. So I didn't stay a customer service rep for too long. I got promoted in management very quickly. Um, I don't know if you guys stay abreast of what goes on with, you know, different banks, but back in 2010 in California, that's where I'm originally from. I'm residing now 5 years here in Georgia. But they closed all the submission processing centers down due to needing a bailout. Now, at that time, I was on a medical leave. And just to kind of speed things up, I was killing the game at 22 years old. I mean, at 22, and I feel comfortable disclosing this, I was making well over 7,500 a month easily. And that wasn't even including my husband's income at the time. So I found my niche law. And one thing about me, anybody that knows me, I believe in perfecting your craft. And so B of A was the platform for me to perfect my craft, excuse me. It gave me different personalities, different people with their different financial situations. You have your regular customers who just want to call in routinely for, you know, account information. Then you have your MRA clients, which are master relationship clients with B of A, holding billions of dollars. And so you have to be well spoken, you have to be well knowledgeable, you have to stay abreast of changes, federal regulations changes a lot. So if you're not a person that is good at filtering information out and you're one that you lock it in your brain and you still quote old information, then unfortunately you tell people wrong things. But luckily for me, I was good at that. I just would go in early. I would read all the updates, things of that nature. And like I said, I went into management. I took supervisor calls. I love what I did, whether it be just a routine, hey, what's my bank account balance? I always found a way to offer additional service. And eventually I ended up training best practices, things of that nature. Well, to speed things up, as Patricia said, reading my bio, I felt like I was on top of the world. I was doing what I love to do. I was getting compensated very well for that time frame and my age. And what ended up happening is I ended up getting sick. A lot of stress. I won't disclose exactly specifics. I had to take a leave, but during that time, I was still kind of working from home, still kind of, doing things. But what I didn't realize is that eventually B of A decided to close. Well, they didn't decide, but they ended up having to close all four call centers in California, with Fresno being the last to close. And so it hurt me to go from making $7,500 a month. Obviously, I governed my lifestyle with my salary because I had been pretty stable in that career. And when they told us, well, we're closing all our call centers down, we were left with a 12-week severance package and goodbye. That devastated me, you all. I didn't know what I was going to do. Not only was I going through a divorce at the time of losing my job, I had children to rear. And of course, as you guys know, disability and unemployment takes a while to kick in. Meanwhile, life was happening. I still had bills. I had children that needed to eat. I still had other financial obligations that I had to take care of. So what it did, though, is it gave me strength to say, you know what, there's no such thing of job security anymore. Whereas then, a lot of us, when you're in a career, of course, if you're good at budgeting, you're going to govern your lifestyle behind your revenue. And so when you have that snatched in a matter of time, but it took you time to build. I mean, I lost my house, I lost my cars. It was a very trying time in my life, but I am a fighter, you all. I've been a fighter since birth. And so what I decided to do is I'm a researcher. And one thing about me, I read a lot. I tell people I don't have time to watch TV. TV, I will tell you all, in my opinion, is your income reducer. A lot of us get caught up in these shows and all these things that's not edifying. And I know with this pandemic that it's not too often that God is going to slow the world down for us to catch up. And I do believe that's what he's doing. A lot of people have prayed and said, Lord, I need time. I don't like my job. I need more money. And so the funny thing, me and Patricia, and along with other people, we were talking about how people are just they forget their prayers. See, God is not going to do it how you want him to do it. Now, pandemic, it has been trying, but also there's been stimulus checks that went out. People are getting unemployment. You're able to stay at home. And if you're like me, I stayed at home to perfect my craft. And so a lot of people are not using this time wisely. And so I want to encourage you all that it doesn't matter what endeavor that you're pursuing. It doesn't matter what avenue you're going in. It doesn't matter that there's umpteen people that do what you do. That's like saying, I'm sure Michael Jordan in his day, as you all know, wonderful athlete. I don't think he was too concerned about the new kid on the block that, was going to come in and outshine him. You know why? Because he was too busy perfecting his brand, his name. Jordan is still Jordan, okay? So I said that to say, don't get scared when it comes to, how many people do your business and, oh, I may not get clients. I'm a woman of faith. So faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So even though you don't see it, I am a true testimony that once you do the work and you block out all the noise and the confusion and you focus and you perfect your craft, it will come to fruition. And that's kind of how KSL came about. Kingdom style living is not a brand, you all. It's not just a brand, it's a lifestyle. I feel that we are king's kids. So that means we need to walk in royalty, okay? And so what that consists of is, if we are king's kids, that means we should be good stewards of our finances. Our health should be up to par. Everything in our life should be kingdom style. But because our mindset has not been conditioned for that, this is where you have procrastination. This is where you have, it can't be done. And I tell people, while people are telling me it can't be done, I'm an example. Other people are out here doing it. So you have to eliminate and block off the naysayers. You're always going to have people that's going to, say, well, no, I don't think that's a good idea, and know this and know that. Those are people who probably quit Those are people that we call sometimes haters. You know, you have to learn how to, you know, really, 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 really filter your mind. A good quote that I left.
I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to cut in for 1 second.
Sure.
Give me 1 second because I want to drop the Zoom link. And I know you're going to bring a lot of great information. The young lady, Shawanda Van Houten, she is actually, she is an individual that I am connected to through basketball. So when you're speaking about Michael Jordan, my son plays with an organization that her husband actually runs. And she's also a realtor. She does a lot of different things. And so we were actually in the gym. I don't want to cut you off, but I know that she hopped on this so she can ask some questions. And I know Natasha Peterson is my business partner. They got some questions.
Okay.
So I want to be able to, because I don't know how much time they have, and I know you're going to share a wealth of information. And out of courtesy for these ladies, you know, I would want you to be able to share, but I know how important Natasha's time is and Shay's time is as well. And I don't want them to not be able to, if they took the time out, they serious. You know, they didn't stay outside. You know, people like to sit back outside and watch. They said, let me be on this Zoom. And let me tell you this, Shawanda didn't even have my Facebook. So she tracked my Facebook page down to be on this Zoom. So I don't want her to hop off the Zoom. So out of courtesy, Natasha, you have the mic to put forth your question or concerns. And then I want Twila to be able to funnel and fuel. I'm going to mute out the line and I'm going to drop the Zoom link for everybody else in the comment line. So thank you so much.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be on, so I want to hear your story. I want to hear everything that you have to share, Ms. Thornton. But the one main question that I have, because I keep hearing different things, as far as specific auto ship. So I'm not sure if I mean like network marketing, right? Your auto ship and the consumable products that you get to stay active, right? Is it a tax deductible if you're actually consuming the actual products?
Yes, it can be written off now, depending on it's tricky. Taxes and certain deductions are very complicated when it comes to business. Let me go ahead and explain why. Okay. President Trump, unfortunately, and I say this, Lord, help my mouth. Prior President Trump, he took away a lot of small business deductions. Okay. So whereas in you could write off your home, now I'm learning that, you know, the mortgages, it doesn't even benefit you to have a home anymore. It's not even, you know, when I put in the points that you have on your home and the interest you've paid and allocated out in the year, it doesn't even give you a refund anymore. Okay. So what has happened is he's found a way, or at that particular time when he was in office, to really, you know, eliminate the middle class. And I would be a middle class person. I'm sure everybody on the live would be considered middle class person. He's found ways to not allow us to get the proper deductions. But luckily, again, I perfect my craft. So I found a way to get around that because and the pandemic was the plateau to do it. There are so many deductions you can take. You're not going to hear it on the TV. And the only deduction I think they kept emphasizing is the recovery rebate. Okay, well, that's not technically a deduction. That is basically whoever didn't get the stimulus payments or they feel that there was a discrepancy in the amount, they just go on, you file your taxes this year, you can claim them as a credit this year. But there are so many other deductions that you could take. So back to your question, there is, if you consume it, it doesn't matter. It's still a product. It's still something that you're selling. It's still something that people have to purchase. I don't know how TLC does their inventory. I don't know if you all buy in bulk. I don't know if you guys buy, as the client needs or directly, but either way, it is still something that you can write off, because now everybody obviously can't write it off. It would be the business owner. I believe you guys are operating under a 1099. You guys are considered, okay, I thought so. Then you have to, you can write it off. Now, unfortunately, now if I was your client, I wouldn't be able to go on there and say, well, I bought $2,000 worth of NutriBurst and I want my money back. The only way a client potentially could do that is unless they joined your team and became partner, or however your marketing level did it. So I don't know if that answers your question, but it is a write-off, and I would be more than happy to show you all, or anyone at that nature, how and where that goes, or guide them on how to write it off, because it's so depending on what softwares. I operate out of multiple different softwares because I have different type of clients. Sometimes it could be overlooked, so you have to specifically know where to go to take that particular deduction.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate
You're welcome.
Thank you, Natasha, for asking that question. That was an awesome question, because that was something I needed to know also. So I greatly appreciate it.
Good deal.
You're welcome. Shawandra, you ready to come forward? I know I'm saying your name wrong. I'm so
Listen, I don't know why you calling me that. Please call me Shay.
I know.
Shay.
All right, Shay. You ready, Shay? This is like us being in the gym. You ready to go ahead and pose your question?
Well, I was listening to Twila like she was going somewhere. You cut her
She
off.
was, and I didn't. You know what it was is I was like, and Twilight, I love you. I love you. I didn't want to.
I know I love you too, sis.
Okay. So this is the thing. I just didn't want you all to hop off because you're short on time.
No.
Okay. So Twila, go on back to the rest of the story.
I mean, if that's okay with the other young lady. I'm sorry, I didn't get her name. Okay.
Yeah, I was right there with you.
Listen, you don't even know, but she was speaking to me. Okay, she was speaking.
I appreciate that. If she's speaking to you all and you all took the time and everybody's in agreement, I just try to, Natasha know how we have to be, we always have to be respectful of everybody's time.
Definitely.
And I'm always in training mode. So, I'm always looking at the clock like, hold up, so we got to reel it in. We got to reel it in.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm here for it.
All right, perfect. All right, Twila, you got the mic. I'm muted.
Okay, thank you so much, Shay and Natasha. Like I said, I don't really remember where I left off. I just know that I was saying, and actually I do, about the pandemic and using your time wisely. I am one. I also help people start their LLCs. I am a financial literacy coach. I also, outside of the finance part of it, I'm a motivational speaker. I do a lot, you all. I'm very gifted, but I will say, just to minister to you all, I'm a regular person, you guys. I'm not this, even though a lot of people know me, things of that nature, and I'm doing well in my business. Let me tell you guys something. With KSL Financial, it wasn't going to be financial at first. And so I'll go kind of back into how this thing came. I got sick of the devil. Okay. I don't know what your faith is, and I don't want to offend anyone. I'm not a person. Let me go ahead and say that this way. I am not religious. I have a relationship. There's a difference. Okay. So I want to touch on that. A lot of religious people, and if you're on here, you might fall off this live, and that's okay. God bless you. But it's going to get real, because if we're going to talk, we're going to be transparent. That's what I promote. And in my experience of being reared in church, it limited me. And what I mean by that is that the way I was raised, which I was raised Christian. I won't go into the specific denomination, but it's under the Christian umbrella. It teaches you to be weak. It teaches you to, if you don't have a good teacher, it teaches you to turn the other cheek on things. It teaches you to, oh, well, Jesus gonna fight your battles and all this kind of stuff. Well, I beg to differ. If you look in the Bible, everybody in the Bible had issues, okay? Saul, he was a murderer, okay? God still used him. David, he was a drunk. God still used him. Jonah, he didn't want to go to Nineveh. He was scared. He was what we considered a punk. And so he said, no, Lord, I'm not even credible. You want me to go tell these people this and I'm little bitty this? No, thank you. He said, I'm about to go the opposite direction. So I said that to say God had to strip me from everything I thought to be true. And he had to make me understand that this walk sometimes is not about discovering. What if it's about undoing some things that we've been taught in our childhood? What is about stripping some things that is holding us back? That's what I've discovered in this 37 years of living, is that a lot of this walk is about embracing who you truly are. Everybody has a specific purpose. Now, don't confuse purpose with gifts, because I am very gifted. Just because I sing don't mean that's my purpose. Just because I write doesn't mean that's my purpose. Those are gifts that will actually work together to birth your purpose. And a lot of these things are not taught in the church. A lot of these things are not taught. So what did the word of God says? My people die for what? Lack of knowledge. And so therefore he's raising a people like me, you, Shay, you, Natasha, and each one of us picture it as a body. Now, would it be something that your neck is designed to rotate your head? So if I go left, the neck's supposed to support the head. But what I found with work outside of where we're supposed to, people are doing things that is not even remotely close to their purpose. And what happens? You're moving out of order. Okay. So I said that to say that a lot of times we have to stop letting uncredible people speak into our spirit. Okay. Because words become action. If you hear it enough, you're going to eventually wonder why. Well, wow, I got a potty mouth. Well, you're around a lot of people to cuss. It's a no-brainer, but because it's happening in our subconscious, sometimes we're not aware of that. So back to this pandemic thing, God told me, he said, Twila, because I'm not going to lie, even though I had been holding on to KSL Financial for 10 years, he had not told me to release it yet. And the reason why he told me not to is because there were some things in my personal life that I would have to experience before I could be credible, before I could say, I've been through that. See, nobody want to deal with somebody that can't help them get through that thing. If we both going through it, we both blind people hoping that whoever get it, sis, you got it. Oh no, I ain't got it. You got it. No, God is not going to ever send someone in your life that's on the same level when he's trying to elevate you. He's going to send someone that's already been where you're at to take you to the next level. And so, I had a lot of people concerned about me launching KSL in a pandemic. Obviously, the biggest concern is finances. People didn't lose job. And I'm not going to lie, as strong as I am mentally and I'm a go-getter, it became discouraging. I almost did not launch it in the pandemic. But thank God that I said, you know what? I know I hear him telling me in my spirit to do it. So I don't care what everybody's saying. I don't care what it looks like. And when I got that mind frame and I spoke into the atmosphere, then what happens is God will come and he'll align your words and he'll go ahead and make a way. So what he did is he was my well in the wilderness. And I consider this pandemic a wilderness. What I've noticed is that there's a paradigm shift you all taking place. And what that means is that a lot of people who, are not very good people, but they're rich, or their character is a little bit distorted, or something is wrong. They're not doing things out of the love and kindness of their heart. It's a get rich quick thing, and just, they're frauding people. God is taking the wealth from those type of people, and he's putting it in the hands of you, me, and people who are really trying to do things out of the kindness of their heart and perfecting their purpose. And they're doing it because this is something that they just love to do. So that's kind of where in the scripture that derive with kingdom style living financial is the kingdom suffereth violence, but the violent take it back by force. And so this is how kingdom style living was birthed for me. I got sick of losing. I got sick of, getting in health situations. I mean, my marriage failed. I mean, the enemy had been attacking me so much that I said, no, 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 no. I'm a king's kid. I am a strong woman. The Lord tells us that he knows the plans that he has for us, not to harm us, but to basically give us a good life. But there also are prerequisites that we have to learn how to do in order for us to receive that inheritance. And a lot of it stems from one, conditioning your mind, checking your circle of influence. Everybody rowing in the boat with you is not rowing for you. They might be on that boat poking holes, and then you're wondering why you're sinking. So my biggest thing when I coach people is be aware, you all, of your circle of influence, because the people that you're the average of who you hang around. Okay, so I don't want to go too far in depth. I'm excited, you all. I don't want to go too far in depth on, my personal thing. I really want to get in here and answer a lot of questions that you guys may have about taxes, stocks, the upcoming, they're actually launching the plus up payments as we speak. July 15th is the first payments for single parents, whether that be man or female. You have an option of getting some of your tax credit advance from July to December. So I really want to get into that type of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and open the floor to you all, and you guys can ask me any questions you would like. There's no, wrong question, no lengthy question, whatever you all, need from me. And this is not something I normally do for free. Most people would have to pay for my expertise. But I just feel led that I love building people. The first call of leadership, you all, is servanthood. Everything is not always about money. Sometimes when you plant a seed and you're not after the dollar amount, but you're after a person learning and you're after networking, you're after working together, then guess what? The benefit of that is revenue. So with that being said, I'm going to the floor to you all for any questions, and it doesn't have to specifically correlate with taxes. It could be anything under the financial umbrella. Maybe it's something you're not sure of, or you've heard hearsay, all this kind of stuff, and you just want more clarity. I'll be more than happy to address those. Patricia, you're muted.
Thank you. I'm moving my lips and I thought I hit mute. Unmute. Shay, I was saying, did you have a specific question that you wanted to ask? You can unmute, sweetie.
Okay, I'm sorry. What we was talking about in the gym when we was just Twila, we was just getting into the whole background and everything. Just clarifying the PPP loans, what's going on, what exactly it was for, how it's going to affect your taxes, things that people don't know, because we just see the money coming and we're getting this money, but it's like, your expertise, or would you recommend, or exactly how's that going to play out in the future for us and what we should be doing?
Absolutely. There's so much going on with the PPP loans. A lot of it, I'll be honest, I'm very disheartened because I am an expert in this industry. There has been a lot of fraud going on, you all. I've actually had people, now why, they must not know who I am. I'm an alpha, what they consider the alpha female. So when I tell people I'm very black and white, there's no gray to me. Either you're going to really, really like me or you're really, really not. Either way, I don't care. I'm not a people's pleaser, okay? So to address your concerns with the PPP loan, there has been a lot of fraud going on as it relates to people acquiring these loans. I've had people call me and say, I'll pay you $200 for you to do me a fake Schedule C. Like, are you kidding me? I'm not going to lose my credentials, my integrity, my everything I work for to help you scam the system. No, thank you. But what I will say for credible people, Now, there's different types of PPP loans. They had a one that they targeted low income businesses. You had to be in a certain demographic in order to get it. And then there was one where it was geared towards, having whatever businesses, especially small businesses that lost a big chunk of your income and you had to lay off employees, or in 1099 contractors fall under this umbrella. As long as, and I think people miss this part, as long as you use 60% of what you were qualified for to go towards payroll or paying yourself. See, some people say, well, it's just me. I'm a 1099. I don't have employees. Well, as long as you keep record that 60% of what you were allotted went towards to pay yourself, then it would be free. Okay. But I don't think people are emphasizing that part. So what's happening is people are getting these loans and they're not reading the writing. There are stipulations in order for it to be free. And if you don't follow those stipulations, when they do come back and audit you or say, well, back in June or whatever date you retained your loan, we need to see documentation that 60% went towards your payroll, and you're like, well, no, I kind of spent it on this. And it could even be business related. You could have spent it on just, inventory or whatever. You are going to have to pay 100% of it back. And I really feel sad that, however people apply, whether it be through their financial institution or, I don't know, Joe Blow, they're not really telling people in detail what the qualifications are to retain it. Another misconception, and I hope this clarifies for you, Shay, is that a lot of people, well, first off, you had to have had your business started at a certain date, okay? And it affected me, but I did a little bit more research. If you didn't birth your business February of 2019, then technically they're saying that you're not supposed to apply. But let me tell you something. I did not get licensed with my LLC for Kingdom Style Living Financial until June of 2019. Okay. But it didn't mean that I was not a 1099 before. I still, did Kingdom Style Living. I just didn't incorporate it legally that way. So I want to encourage you all, the ones that go by this February date, and it was for 19 and 20, they're looking at these dates. Don't let that prevent you from getting this money. If you were in the process in prior years operating under a 1099 before that date, you're still eligible for it. There is a lot of people that are going to be spreading fake news. Oh, they're going to take it out your taxes. Oh, they're going to. Please disregard that information. If these people are not credible, they hearing it from whoever. Because I get a lot of people, well, I heard this and I heard that. Well, okay, either you're coming to me because you believe that I'm an expert in my industry, or are we going to sit here and go and back and forth about Auntie Boo Boo told you this? Because I'm not going to do that. Listen to Auntie Boo Boo, okay? Because I have clients that trust my advice. They are paying for my credible advice. And so I tell people, don't look into so much what everybody is saying. Find you a reputable person who knows, their license, obviously, that knows what's going on, because that will get you out of a lot of, different trouble. But back to Shay and your question, what it looks like for you in the future, as long as you spend 60% of that money on payroll, and I'm not sure if you have any people working under you, or yourself, and you keep a record on your bank account of that, you are good. It should be free. Now, there's not to say, because I worked for the federal government for 11 and a half years. I worked for the IRS for 11 and a half years. Okay. That's also a birth by purpose. A lot of different conspiracies went on at that time. I learned a lot of things, but I didn't want to be under that umbrella anymore. You guys would be surprised what happens in the government. You have functioning crackheads doing your tax returns. Okay. And I hate to say that. The government does not test. And I don't know if you guys know this. They do not, a part of, even though you start off making really good money, they don't drug test people. You could be, unfortunately, a crackhead, meth head, whatever head, and still, be a functioning person, telling people that they owe 20,000 when in reality they don't owe anything. And I was very discouraged to find that out. The only thing that the IRS requires, or most federal positions, that's exempting when you're in higher rank. They require is that you don't have a felony. Some misdemeanors are permissible, a lot of them are. So I just want you guys to understand that when people think of federal government, sometimes the title intimidates, or it may project like, oh, they're studious people, they're best of their class. No, they're not. Trust me, no, they're not. Luckily, we have a union. The union, anybody knows with unions, they're going to bat for you. You could be smoking pot in the bathroom, and because it's a union job, they're going to cover you, and you're going to still smoke pot and come back and be high and work on the taxes. And I'm just saying, I'm trying to be real with you guys, because this is stuff that you won't know unless you're in-house. And I just was like, wow, I try not to judge whatever people's drug of choice is. That is their drug of choice. But I feel like, as it relates to handling sensitive information, your taxes, you're giving whoever your social security number, your kids' social security number, your bank accounts. I mean, you're giving them your mortgage statements, your mortgage interest. You giving. I wouldn't feel comfortable with someone who may be under the influence. Their judgment may not be up to par. And so I said that to say, and I hope I didn't digress too much, Shay. But as far as in the PPP loans, you are good. Just make sure that you keep a record of how you're spending it. The 40%, you can do whatever you want, but just ensure that you keep records of that 60% being paid to yourself as like a payroll, or if you have employees, you're making sure that you're using 60% of what you're getting to allocate those funds to your employees, if that answers your question.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Shay, thank you so much for asking that question. And Twila, thank you for going in depth and explaining it. I did ask in the chat if Lanier or Booker, thank you, Booker, for hopping on. I wanted to know if either of you have any specific questions. I have some questions that were given to me and some things that I know that people want to know about. So if the gentlemen have their questions, I will want them to come forward, and then I'm going to go into some questions that I have that hopefully will be helpful for other people. So Booker or Lanier? Unmute, Booker. You're still muted, so as soon as you unmute.
Okay.
Perfect. All right.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, I think she answered it. Is the stimulus check, will they be taking that off of the back of it at the end of the year?
I'm not sure, Booker, and I'm sorry, I'm not fully understanding your question. What do you mean?
Okay,
Taxable.
say what I got from the stimulus check at the end of the year, would they take it off whatever I'm gonna get back?
No, the stimulus, all three of them, even if there is a fourth one, which Congress, there is talk about a fourth one. I have my opinion about that. If you guys would like it, if not, that's okay. But any stimulus that you receive, if you're hearing it's going to come out your taxes and all this old foolishness, it's not. I don't know if you guys remember that there was back in, I want to say 2005, there was a rebate given for couples. I think if you were married, you got $600, $300. You never paid that back. This works the same way. A lot of people are saying, well, they giving all this money, they gonna end up getting us in the end. No, you're not. It is a credit. It's a credit that has passed through legislation that is not obviously taxable. It's not going to be taken out of your taxes or any such thing. This is what you consider free money, to be honest. So if you're hearing people saying, oh, well, next year and then the year after, they're going to take it out. No, that's false news. And so I would urge you to disregard that particular notion because it's not valid.
Oh, okay. And the second question is, I think you already answered that about the businesses, because my son have a business and he working now. He wanted me to ask, will he qualify? I think he didn't. He started his at the beginning of the COVID. Will he be qualified for that?
I would have to check the exact date. And depending, I don't know if you heard me earlier, there is different type of PPP loans. And so depending on which one he's wanting to take advantage of, there is certain stipulations. The stipulations are not domiciled across the board. And so I would have to uniquely see the date, the specific date he started, and kind of look at what he's wanting, to do with the PPP and things of that nature, what would best suit him to be able to fully answer that question, because each one of them that you apply for has a different stipulation.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure.
Awesome, Booker. Thank you again for hopping on. And just so you know, Twila actually is in the Atlanta area. So that's great information for you and Michael. All right. So he's going to be heading that way pretty soon, Twila. And then one of his sons is actually there. So you all can definitely connect there.
Okay, good deal.
All right. Lanier, do you have any question that you want to specifically ask Twila?
I did not have any questions in specific. I'm enjoying the information that I am receiving, though. Thank you for this opportunity to learn and to broaden my perspective regarding this. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, I'm grateful that Twila decided to come on, and I want you all to know, like, she's someone that I can reach out to and ask whatever. She's actually helped someone that I know personally and someone that I'm in business with the concern that he had. And so the same way she's sharing information with you all, this is also a platform that I put together. It's great resources, but I want you all to utilize the services of my business partners and friends that I bring on. Sometimes we're looking for great resources, but we don't know where to go and find them. So I hope that you find Twila's information very helpful, that you want to come and support her business. And, she's given us great information for free. So Twila, I actually have some series of different topics. And I just want us to roll through them. And I'm hoping that some of these topics, you can speak on it. We're going to move on to the next topic. Someone may be in the comment line. They might say, oh, I was thinking about that. Okay. So starting out for 2020, some of the changes that I saw popped up as far as topics, and you can go in any order you want. Retirement for people with retirement money, investors with real estate, HSA, health savings account. So if you can speak on any three of those, and also the last one is the confusion over alimony deduction. So in the past, I understood that if anyone paid alimony, they used to write it off as a deduction. But now moving forward, you can't write that off as a deduction. So any of those topics, if you can go ahead, I'm going to mute myself out.
Okay, good deal. As far as in retirement, what I've been finding with the retirement people, it's really unfortunate. Depending on how long you've been collecting your retirement income, I'm seeing a lot of our seniors are owing taxes. And the reason being is because it's tax-free money. And some of it's because whoever they're contracted with, whether it be an H&R Block, Jackson Hewitt, whoever, I want to, and I hope you don't mind, Patricia, I kind of want to tell you guys something. And I think that this will help you when you're choosing what particular company you're going to go through. Understand that H&R Block, Jackson Hewitt, and some of these large corporations, they are not federal employees. They have no federal background. They're you, me, and whoever know how to type and learn the different tax forms. You can go on the irs.gov and learn them yourself, okay? So I want you guys to understand that when you're dealing with these bigger corporations, you're a number, okay? So what that means is that when you come to them with your HSA documents, your retirement documents, they don't really promote their audit protection, and they do that on purpose, because if they mess up and then you come back to them and say, hey, you said I owe this, but then I took it to a more reputable person, and your person that did my taxes made a mistake, guess what they're going to do? They're going to wash their hands of you, because they're going to say, well, let me bring up your account. They're going to bring up your account. Then they're going to look to see if you purchased their audit protection, which most people are not going to, because they don't really up front tell you that. It's in these little bitty writings after they've charged you like $700 to do your tax return. And most people don't see what they do, because they're so happy about this $8,000 refund that they're not going into all that 20-page paperwork to see that their fees and what they're assessing for their fees. And so going back to these questions as it relates to retirement, for an example, I encourage, the retirement people to kind of, and some people can't, maybe because their illness, but I would encourage maybe a older person to do something they like to do and make it like kind of like a whatever they consider a hobby, kind of make it as like a freelance job. And I say that because when you're on a fixed income and you're receiving retirement pension, the last thing you want to do is owe $2,000 or $3,000, and you're already struggling. Your age is against you, things of that nature. So when you go into retirement, you're going to get a set amount. Your employer or whoever company you work for is going to tell you, how long, it is, and, the difference amounts and all that. The thing that they don't tell you is that if you don't have any tax deductions, or you don't have anything to write off, again, seniors used to be able to write off their homes. Most of them paid them off. I mean, if you're 70 or 80 years old, you're close to paying your home off. That was a big credit, so you would get a refund. But unfortunately, a lot of seniors are discovering that is no longer the case. They're widowed. There's so many different things that go on with retirement income, but I just want to encourage you to go to a reputable person, because depending on what type of retirement you're getting, then depending on another one, you should owe, you should not owe. But a person who don't know what they're doing and they're guessing at your return, then they'll put you in they'll select the wrong retirement, and then you're finding yourself, owing money to the IRS, in the beginning of the year. I won't go into real big specifics because it's such a thorough topic. It depends on when you went into retirement, how much you're getting. It's just a lot on that piece of it. But I just know that with the new tax laws and legislations, a lot of people who didn't owe and they could write off their car. That's another thing. You can't even write off your car anymore unless you're using that vehicle and you're claiming it, using it for a business. Then you can write, and even then you're not writing off the car. You can take the interest and you can do mileage, gas mileage. So that is something to keep in mind, that if you have a business, there is a deduction for your car. It's gas mileage. Now, a lot of people save all their receipts. I discourage you from doing that. IRS is not really a stickler on showing proof of a whole bunch of receipts. What they'll do is, with your income that you make from your business, they already in our systems pre-formatted a certain amount that they're going to give you for miles. So what you want to do, instead of accumulating all these receipts, you want to pay attention on your mileage. That you're, like, let's say the beginning of the year you started off with 20,000 miles, and then at the end of the year it was like, I don't know, 28. You want to be aware of that, because what that means is when you go to prepare, whoever prepares your return, I hope it's me, you all, because I deal with everybody. You don't have to be in the state of Georgia to contract me. I do a lot of my things virtual under a secure network. The pandemic, a lot of people are not wanting to go into establishments, which, you do have that option. But as far as in the retirement piece of it, just keep in mind, you really want someone knowledgeable, or else they might get you in a little bit of a situation. Now, the HSA, what I've discovered with the health savings accounts, they're not really giving you a big incentive for that. Like, a lot of it has to do with what they call insurance from the marketplace. If you have, and that's another thing, you all make sure that whoever you choose to do your taxes, you can kind of tell if they're knowledgeable. Questionable and you don't decide to go with me, just I don't mind giving you my number, my email, so you kind of can say, hey, I went here and does this say, I'll review it for you, and make sure. But a lot of things have been reduced, you all, and that's due to, obviously, they want the rich to get richer, and the middle class, you're either going to go into the rich bracket or you're going to go into the poor. Obviously, it's not a lot of us getting rich very quickly, so that means you move from the middle class to the poor end of it. And so keep in mind that a lot of these deductions have been removed, but also keep in mind there has been a lot of deductions that have been added. And so you're not going to hear these publicized. You just have to go with someone who's really, really an expert to make sure you're getting a lot of your deductions. And then what was the third one, Patricia? I'm sorry. So we touched on HSA, retirement, and what was the other one?
Real estate investors. And when you've purchased, you've sold, and maybe you don't go right into buying another property. So
Okay.
the gain from the profits you've received from the property that you've just sold.
Sure. With the realtors, it's been crazy. I do have a lot of realtors that are a lot of them have suffered a great loss, but unfortunately, it doesn't matter according to the IRS. They don't look at, and this is really unfortunate, but they really don't look at, let's say before the pandemic, the year before this pandemic happened, and you bought all these properties and you made X amount of money and all this kind of stuff. But then the pandemic happened, you had to allocate more out, you experienced a loss. Doesn't matter. It's still reportable income. It's considered a gain, a capital gain at that. And so you are mandated to report that, you all. A lot of people don't know this because you're not dealing. Let me tell you something about basic tax companies. You're going to come in with your paperwork, and whatever you bring is what they're going to address. Now, I do things a little bit differently, and what gives me the driving edge is that I'm just not a tax preparer. I work for the federal government, so I know what will trigger an audit. I know deductions. I know a lot of things that your typical CPAs or, again, your H&R Block, Jackson Hewitt, because these are not people that work for the federal government. So that's what makes me a little bit more credible, or anybody who has government experience. I worked for the IRS for 11 and a half years, you all. And so I was their senior tax examiner. I caught errors that reputable companies were making. You understand what I'm saying? So you want to just make sure that you're going. But what I can say, because of the pandemic, realtors are actually been getting a lot of refunds. They were like, oh my God, while I haven't seen a refund in X amount of time. It's because there's some credits and things that they qualify for. And that piece of it, I will not give out free, only because people will go and obviously get that, and I lose, income. So if that is something, if you're a realtor or somebody that has a lot of gains, things of that nature, and you want to see a refund and not you be in the negative, definitely feel free to hit me up. One thing about me is all my new clients, I always give a discount to. If you go on my Facebook business page, a lot of my clients are getting 75, 50% off. I feel like for my expertise, my prices are very reasonable, you all. Not only do you get reasonable prices, none of my clients have never been audited. If they were triggered with an audit, it passed. I'm by the book, you all. I really take my time. This is the reason why I don't try to extend myself. If I'm booked, I'm booked. I won't say, oh, well, I'll add, because my focus is my client. I want to make sure you all are getting all your deductions, all the things that you need. And if you overextend yourself, I am not comfortable with hiring anybody at this time, just because it's just a plethora of knowledge. And I really don't have time to teach somebody that right now. And so I right now am the CEO and the only person. Now, do I have people sometimes doing intake, things of that nature? I will contract people to help on that end of it. But when it comes to my client sensitive information and what's going on one-on-one with them, I want to be the one, because see, my name, the business is KSL Financial, but I'm the owner. So if one of my employees made a mistake, that ain't gonna matter. They're gonna look at Kingdom Style Living Financial. And so one of my things that I promote is being the highest level is customer service. And so if you go on my page, you'll hear testimonials about clients like, oh my God, she is great, blah, blah, blah. You know, I do this, you all, because one, I have the heart to serve people. And I always keep that in mind. And so I don't like for us to work hard for our money. And at the end of the year, we're faced with a 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 debt over carelessness. And that's what's been happening. I get a lot of my clients from these reputable companies that messed up their taxes. I have to play cleanup. I don't like doing that, you all, because you have to know what their intent was. Well, I don't know, because they weren't going by the book. They were fluffing numbers and doing
Twila,
unorthodox.
I don't want to cut you off, but to what you just said about what the companies are doing. So I actually looked up to see what were like the 10 most litigated tax issues that people have. A lot of times, and we're going to briefly go through them, because a lot of times people think it's just a matter that they're not paying their taxes. And so as I go through, I want you to say what are the ones that are probably the most standout. One thing that you mentioned was the things that bring into risk issues that make the IRS go back and triggers, you know, because a lot of times when people are filing, they don't realize what are the triggers that's making the IRS say, hold up, let us go audit this person. But the 10 most litigated tax issues, and as I run through these, if something stand out, I want you to speak on that. And then I want to move on, because we have about 10 minutes. And I know the questions that I have come from other individuals that say, hey, Patricia, this is what I want to know about. And I want to make sure I'm able to cover some of those.
Good deal.
So number one says accuracy related. People get penalties due to the accuracy of their tax return. Number two, trade or business expenses, people putting down the wrong thing or, you know, wrong information related to their business expenses. Gross income, people not reporting, actually they're showing less as far as their gross income. Summons enforcement. CDP, collections due process, failure to file and failure to pay penalties. Charitable donations, and I can understand that, reporting things that they didn't donate or overstating things that they've donated. Frivolous issues, penalties, civil action to enforce, federal tax liens, and relief from joint. So the release from this was interesting, because I've heard plenty of people who have been married before and now they've gotten a divorce, and maybe their ex-spouse have put them in a situation where now they got taxes from something they didn't even know about, or they're still linked to. Out of all those different things, you just grab one or two and kind of talk about it, because out of all those 10 most litigated, I wanted to know, what are the issues? What are the top concerns?
I'm glad you brought those things up, because one, it was one of the last ones you said, is you're getting into a family, or you got no people when they go to file joint. Unfortunately, their spouses weren't very honest. He might owe, I don't know, 50,000 in child support. Well, guess what? The IRS doesn't care about that. If you file joint with that individual, they're not going to care about if you didn't know, he didn't tell you. If you're used to getting a refund, let's say you brought in 5 kids from a previous marriage and he don't got none, or you only have 1 with him, you're used to getting a certain amount of refund. But if he does not disclose to you, or she does not disclose to you their financial debt, then unfortunately your portion of the refund would go to suffice their debt. Okay, now there is a way around that, and with that called filing what we call an injured spouse. And what that means is, what you're communicating to the IRS is you're telling them, hey, listen, I don't want to be responsible to help my husband or wife pay this stuff that I didn't know nothing about before I joined union with them. So what I would like for it to happen is that whatever my portion would be, once I join with them, I would like that sent to me separately, and whatever their portion, if any, refund that they would get on their own, then that would be allocated towards their debt. So just remember that if you are concerned about your significant other, or you get wind, and you can always go and amend it, you all. It's not like a thing to where he did it a whole bunch of years and you're stuck. No, a lot of people don't know about the injured spouse form. As long as you go ahead and file that with your taxes, then it excuses you from having to take your, portion of the refund to pay your spouse's obligation. You also have reserved the right to file married but filing separate. A misconception of married filing separate, you don't have to be divorced to file married filing separate, okay? As long as you two are in a different household, or he's here, don't want to file joint or married. Some people get in their feelings and they say, well, purposely, I'm gonna wait till the deadline in because I don't care. Well, there's hope for you. All you would do is marry, filing joint, but I'm not gonna lie. I mean, separate. Marry, filing separate, I don't encourage that a lot, and I'm gonna tell you why. If you have children, and this may be something you want to take notes on. If you have children, any type of credit you would get for your children, whether it be the earned income credit, the child tax credit, you will not get that married family. The IRS kind of penalizes you guys for not being able to come together. And I'll share a brief, and I'll move on because I don't want to go too long. Patricia, I want to follow your wishes. I had a situation, I was in the process of divorcing my husband. I told him, because obviously I was an expert then, let's file joint. We're not all the way, our divorce is not final. He was in his want to. What he owed when we filed separate, and he owed, he wanted to amend it and file joint. And what we did, which I thought was reasonable, is we split the money. Now, I'm not going to lie, some people are not going to come back and do it, whatever. But I just want to encourage you to realize that when you married filing separate, you are not going to get any of your deductions, which in return, you're not going to get a refund probably at all. Another thing that kind of stood out to me in that list is you guys have to keep in mind, I do understand that when you become financially stable and your income increases, that you may owe. I would not encourage you not to file your taxes, all you guys, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because the IRS, they penalize you daily. This is not like they do one little penalty. You are accumulating interest and penalties daily. So let's hypothetically say you owe $2,000. That $2,000, if you say, oh my God, I don't got that, I'm not paying it, I'm not even gonna do taxes. Well, that easily can turn into $12,000 in the next year because you're now being penalized for being irresponsible. Now, there is ways to get around it, you all, and it's called filing a 4868. Now, you guys don't know this form number, so I'm going to tell you what it is. It's an extension. It does not eliminate you guys from your tax obligation. You owe what you owe. What it does do, though, is it gives you more time. So the file number hardship. So those are the biggest things that's happened. I've seen.
Can you repeat yourself? You kind of broke up and we didn't hear it. We didn't get you. When you were talking about the form and the extension and what to file, and then it broke up. So we didn't get to hear that important information.
Okay, am I coming clear a little bit? Can you thumbs me up? Okay, so what I was saying is that when you owe a large amount, you all, a lot of it I'm not going to do is error. Most people that normally owe, it's something that your tax preparer missed. I'm gonna be honest. There's so many deductions because I've had people that owed a lot, and that's why my new clients, I want to see your previous year's tax return because I want to look at to see what they're doing, and I could almost guarantee you I would get you a refund within reason, or this gigantic amount that you're used to owing, I can guarantee that it would be reduced because these people are not going in thorough. Why? Because you're a number to them. They're trying to get you in and out that seat. So they're not taking the time to look at your occupation and see every single thing your credit's for. It's what you bring them. If you only bring them W-2s, hey, you're going to get W-2 refund. So it takes a very specialized tax return preparer to start probing you. Hey, did you do this? Did you participate in trading this year? I probe my clients, okay? But back to this extension, it's called a Form 4868. That's what you need to file if you are not ready to owe or pay up the whole amount by the due date, which technically in past years, the due date is always April 15th. That's the filing deadline. But because of the pandemic, last year, I think they gave everybody to October, and this year was July 15th. So what I did for my clients, I automatically filed them extension. If they owed, I try to give them an extension to October so I can get in there and work my magic and help them out a little bit.
Awesome. Thank you so much for breaking that down and explaining. And I like how you said, I didn't even mention it, but it says injured spouse about the, I did have that piece. When your spouse actually owe and then you don't want to take on that burden. One thing that everybody's been talking about or know about, it's all over the news, if you can briefly talk about the child tax credit. We didn't heard that over and over and over again, the child tax credit and how it's all gonna play out.
Sure. I have not released you all my website. It is up and running, and I do have that under news. I will let you all know when I do my website launch. That is in detail on there because it is a big topic. I'm just going to touch briefly on it. Basically, what it is, you all, is a part of this last stimulus package that President Biden passed. What they're trying to do, we have a lot of child poverty because your kids had to stay home. I have 3 boys, you all, 19, 16, and 3 years old. They have eaten me out of house and home. They did that before the pandemic. It's just gotten worse, okay? So I'm talking about this, you buy 24 pack of water, it's gone in a day because they're just drinking it excessively, or they're drinking up all the juice, and I'm like, whoa, wait, $500 in groceries. So what the president has decided to do is he thought it would be wise and helpful to take some of the child tax credit that you would get when you file your taxes. All they're doing is splitting the child tax credit in half, and he upped the amount you get. Normally in past years, per child, you were averaging $2,000 to $2,500. For each child on 2020's taxes, you're going to get $3,600 a piece, okay? And so I think that was a very lucrative decision that our president made. It was a blessing to a lot of households, but the way this is going to work is you're going to get half of it if you want to, starting July 15th. Now, I want you guys to take notes about this because this has been the confusion. They're going to release a portal, okay, on the IRS website. So you can go to www.irs.gov, but they're going to release a portal. And that portal, you're going to want to make any changes from whenever you filed your taxes. You might have had a newborn or got a son away from college that no more, after 17, you can't even get a deduction. No, with this child tax credit, you can qualify for a $500 payment for them, okay? But you want to go on the portal. Now, the portal is not only going to be used to update information to make sure you're getting the right amount for your children, but it is also for people who want to opt out of the monthly payments. Some people don't want, let's say for me, I'll use me as an example. I have a child, Callie, graduated in this year. I have 2 residing with me. So from ages 1 day old to 6, you're going to get $350. So write these numbers down. You're eligible for $350 ages 0, or not 0, but 1 to 6. From ages 7 to 17, you're going to get $250. So if you got 3 kids that are under the age of 6, obviously you times $350 by that. And you got one that's 15, 16, 17, you add $250. And this is what they're going to send you every single month, all the way to December on the 15th. Now, if the 15th falls on a holiday, you are going to get that particular money ahead of time. So if it falls on a Sunday, most likely you would get the 15th fall on a Sunday of any given month, you would get that on that Friday instead of the Sunday. And then also, if you don't want the monthly payments, you have to go in there and opt out. You may say, you know what, I'm gonna mess it up. And I just do better if I get it in the lump sum. So you can go on that portal and opt out, you all. And that's pretty much how this child tax credit is done. There's pros and cons. Everybody's needs are different. If you kind of want my advice, if you feel like, should you take it in the lump sum or should you get I'll look at your situation individually, collectively, and I can give you my expert opinion. But that's just pretty much how it's going to work. If you don't opt out, they're going to automatically use your tax information, and they're going to start sending you this money according to what you reported your dependents as on your tax returns.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Thanks for providing that information, Twila, because I know that has been a huge topic and people have been trying to sort through. So, you know, because we are now at 10:33, and I want to first thank each and every one of you all for being here. I want to thank Twila. She has given us a wealth of information in this hour, and we started about 9:15, so it's been about an hour and 17, 18 minutes. Twila, if you could state just your name of your website. I know it's not up yet. Well, give them your number, or I can put it in the chat. I also want to let you all know every video will be loaded to my YouTube channel, and it's at She Reps. My channel is up. Every Zoom that I do with every person that come on with something of value, I load it. So you don't have to wonder if I got to scroll through Patricia's Facebook feed to find this. You can go to She Reps on YouTube, and I'm going to load Twila's video tonight. I'm going to load this great information. And Twila, if you want to go ahead and give your information, how they can contact you if they want to utilize your services. She is out of the Atlanta, Georgia area, but I know Twila helps people all around the world. So you got the mic on that, Twila.
Sure. So my business number, you all, is going to be 678-531-0962. And I will be honest, you all, I wear a lot of hats. Please forgive me if you call me, I don't answer right off. I kind of prefer email. That way I'm screening and kind of getting an idea of what you want. So that way I can service your needs. Sometimes when I have people call me, you know, fluke, or I don't really know who you are, it turns into, it's time consuming. And unfortunately, I had to, turn down some clients tonight to be able to do this for you all tonight. Again, it's not about money for me, it's about serving, and I think this is needed, you all. And so my my email address, I just did a corporate email. So let me provide that to you all momentarily here, so you can reach out to me via email. Of course, any social media platform, you're more than welcome to look me up. I have a business page called KSL Financial. I would love you all to join my business page on Facebook. I do not have anything on IG just yet. I will be doing that. So again, my telephone number is 678-531-0962. For those of you did not catch that in the beginning, and you can email me at KSL Financial, the number 8 at gmail.com.
Does anyone have any final words or any questions, anything that might have popped up that may not have been addressed, or if you want to have a more personal one-on-one conversation with Twila? I'm so grateful that she came on and provided all this. If we could be on all night long, you all know that with the taxes. There's so many different things, but I do want to share with you all, and Twila knows this. So we talk about the burdens of the taxes. So I was like, all right, what's the flip side? And Twila probably know this. But, well, long story short, we use taxes to pay for some necessities that we need. So we got to look at it. There's some good and there's some bad, and we have to be accountable. We have to be liable. You know, and as business owners, every single person on here is a business owner. And so I so very much thank you all, because you all take it very serious. You want to make sure everything is in alignment. And so I thank you for being here for that. You know, nobody wants to be audited. Nobody wants to, you know, not have their business looking the way that it should be. But I thank you all very, very, very much. If you all don't have anything else you want to add, Twila,
I just wanted to add one thing. Can you hear me? I just want you guys to know, I know we touched a lot on taxes. That's not the only services that I offer. I offer financial coaching. I did all my graphic designs. I am a graphic designer. I help people establish their LLCs. I'll let you know the difference between.
For you. That was, yeah. I was
I'll
gonna
let
say.
you know the difference, the pros and cons with an LLC, a S
Okay.
corp.
Mhm.
You know, I do everything under the financial umbrella, even life insurance, the benefits between term life and whole life. So just know that even though the bulk of this Zoom was covering taxes, and that is the area that I promote the most, that is just not everything I promote. So I help people with stationaries, learning how to your delivery. It's a lot of things that I offer. So if you want a one-on-one, or you kind of need some help, you know, with retaining clients and client retention and things of that nature, I'm very good and skilled at that as well. So I just wanted to throw that in because I know that wasn't mentioned, and my website is not up yet. So you guys probably like, okay, taxes are the only thing. No, you guys, like I told you, I wear a lot of hats. So just whatever you think you may need, if I do it, I will help you. If I don't, I have colleagues that I can refer you out to that are very excellent in their craft as well. I work with people that are, you know, at the top of their skill, is who I network with, because I want everybody to have a great customer experience. Okay. So again, it was a pleasure meeting you all. Shay, I loved your questions. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry. I'm glad you saw my hand. Patricia, Coach V is over here eavesdropping.
Oh.
Yeah. So he has a question. He's like, can you ask her before you go? He said, how do you file your taxes for the LLC but get the benefits of an S corp?
Well, it's just simple. You want to, instead of filing your LLC a standalone, what I do is I incorporate it in my personal taxes. So my tax return would look different from someone who is filing an S corp. When you file your S corp, you're going to do your personal as a separate entity in the S corp by itself. But if you want to get the benefits of the LLC, I would promote, and this is what I promote to business owners, I would promote you file a Schedule C. There's really not a difference other than you get more deductions, more write-offs. I could go on and on about the difference. Let him know that he can contact me personally and schedule a time that I can meet with him to kind of go over his specific questions, because it's just so much. But I feel it's better that way. A lot of people prematurely jump off and do things that probably, depending on what kind of business you have, you probably shouldn't have went that route. But of course, if you didn't know, or you maybe thought that's how you're supposed to do it, you can't, you know, fault yourself from lack of knowledge. So with that being said, I hope that answers the question.
It did. He said, thank you.
My pleasure.
Tell Coach Jay I said thank you for having an added absentee question.
He hears you. He hears you.
Great stuff. Well, I want to thank again each and every one of my guests. I love interaction. Natasha know it, because when we train, it's all about that interaction. It's good stuff. It's not just the trainer talking. It's the person, you know, it gives good energy. So Tyler, love you much. I appreciate you so much for taking our time tonight. We had a little technical difficulties, but we made it happen. Booker, thank you for being here. Natasha and Shay, thank you. Go ahead, Shay. I see your hand up, sweetie. Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you so much. And you all, does everyone raise your hand so I know that each and one of you have Twyla's information. You all know how to reach her. Natasha, good. Shay, good. Booker, good. Okay. Awesome. 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 Reach out, send her a text and say, hey, this is Natasha, Shay, and Booker, and then she'll respond back, and you all can work that out. That's what we're here for. Bring great resources so we all can join together and grow together. All right, you all. Love y'all all. Thank you. All.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Pleasure meeting all you guys.
Yes,
God bless.
You're welcome. See you Monday, Shay.
Okay.
I'll see y'all tomorrow somewhere.
Okay, I'll call you later tomorrow sometime, or this coming week.
Okay, sound like a plan. All right, you all have a great night, okay?
Okay, you too.
All right,
bye
bye
now.
guys.